Madelyn Pryor, aka Goblin Queen, was a clone of Jean Grey, but that's definitely an oversimplification of who she was. She gave birth to Nathan Summers, one of the strongest mutants there is, and she herself was an excellent character. I won't beat around the bush any further and just get down to business, so let's explore the entire known family of Madelyn Pryor, shall we? Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot, so thank you. Let's begin.
Every cell in you belongs to me. Your mind, your body.
Nathaniel Essex. Father, creator. Nathaniel Essex cloned himself 3 times to make Mr. Sinister, Dr. Stasis, and Orbis Stellaris. Plus, he cloned his late wife as Mother Righteous. Needless to say, Mr. Sinister is pretty much Essex 2.0. Both wear the same red diamond and share the same mutant obsession. Essex became Essex after receiving a makeover from Apocalypse, and it was this, well, upgrade that turned him into Mr. Sinister. Interestingly, Mr. Sinister has always been behind the scenes and never really serves as an active player in any mess that he creates. But yes, he does mess with the big-name mutants, like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Gambit, Havoc, and even Professor X. You could say that one of his biggest achievements was creating Madelyn Pryor and having Nathan Summers born, all because he believed this kid who would ultimately put an end to the apocalypse. After Xavier started the X-Men with Cyclops in charge, Sinister employed Kraven the Hunter to collect their DNA. Side note, I'm super excited about the new Kraven movie. I mean, the trailer looks amazing, and Aaron Taylor Johnson seems like just the perfect guy to play Kraven. Anyway, coming back to our story, Sinister mixed it with Kraven's and Carnage symbiote's DNA to make X-Raven, but the real prize he was looking for was Jean's DNA. He tried, but couldn't get enough of Jean Grey's DNA, so he cloned her. The clone, named Madelyn Pryor, didn't show any powers until the Phoenix death sparked life in her. Sinister made up a story for her as a pilot for Cyclops' grandparents. Madelyn and Cyclops met, fell in love, got married, and had a super powerful baby boy, which was just what Sinister wanted. You should check out our videos on X-Men 97 for more on this. Later, when Professor X laid the foundation of Krakoa, Sinister also received what we can call citizenship and a spot on the governing council. His mutant library of mutant DNA became the key to recreating mutants on Krakoa. Jean Grey Summers, genetic template. When Dark Phoenix died on the moon, a bit of the Phoenix Force hit Madelyn Pryor, Jean's clone. We know that she was a project gone wrong by Mr. Sinister. He wanted Jean's genes, but didn't abduct her or anything as a kid because he feared Xavier. When Madelyn showed no powers, Sinister ditched her. But when Phoenix left Jean, it found Madelyn. Of course, the Phoenix Force zapped her to life with a Firebird flare and some of Jean's memories. Once that happened, Sinister got back to his plans. Months after the Phoenix was gone, the Avengers found Jean in a cocoon under Jamaica Bay and took her to the Fantastic Four. Jean got out, but she was pretty foggy on the Phoenix stuff until the Avengers and Fantastic Four helped jog her memory. The ordeal affected her telepathy, but boosted her telekinesis. Jean kept mum on her comeback, not sure how to reveal the truth to her folks. Scott Summers, ex-husband. Scott met Madelyn and was blown away by her resemblance to Jean. He didn't know Sinister had programmed her to fall for him. Madelyn was supposedly the lone plane crash survivor the same day Phoenix died, a story Sinister cooked up. Scott first thought Madelyn was Phoenix reborn, but he had no idea of the real storm that Sinister had brewed in his lab. Later, he accepted her as she was, and they married and had a son, Nathan Christopher Charles Summers. Time passed, and Scott and Madelyn started going through a rough patch. Madelyn was fed up with Scott being MIA. Then Scott found out Jean was back, having been cocooned all along. The news floored him, but he kept it from Madelyn and started to pack. Ignoring Madelyn's final warning, he bailed on her and their kid. Damn, Cyclops, we expected better from you. Nathan Summers, son. Nathan Summers, aka Cable, is an uber-powerful mutant with psychic powers and a thing for time travel. He's Cyclops and Madelyn Pryor's kid, and he had powers from his mom's side since he was little. As I've already mentioned, his whole coming into the world was Mr. Sinister's plot to make a weapon against the apocalypse, which drove his mother crazy and led to her death, after she found out that she was a clone of Jean Grey, Nathan's stepmother. As a baby, Nathan caught the terrible techno-organic virus and was sent into a future wasteland because his only chance of survival was in the future. Growing up there as Nathan Dayspring, or Ascani's son, he was supposed to take down the apocalypse. It was actually this whole mess that turned him into a tough soldier and a smart strategist. In his teen years, Nathan came back to the so-called past to live with his folks and big sister Rachel in Krakoa, but he had to return to his future to deal with Strife, his clone, who had turned into bad news. To know more about Strife and the rather grim backstory that he had, you can check out our origin video on him. Anyway, after a ton of battles, Nathan jumped back closer to when he first left. He also created the Six-Pack to keep up the fight, and then led the New Mutants, and morphed them into the tough-as-nails X-Force. Sticking to the present timeline, Cable aimed to fix the future for everyone because he had already seen the rough side of what could happen. Under his wing, he took the first mutant-born kid, after M-Day, and named her Hope Summers. Tyler Dayspring, grandson, deceased. Tyler Dayspring appeared between the late 37th and early 39th centuries. Around the late 36th century, the Apocalypse took over North America and ran the show for 100 years. Clan Ascani was pretty much the last group standing against him. After the Apocalypse was done, two groups, the New Canaanites and the Neo-Canaanites, clashed over his leftovers. Cable, aka Ascani's son, was leading the clan chosen, which included Tyler's future mom, Aaliyah. She nicknamed herself Jen Scott after Jean and Scott, Nathan's parents. Jen Scott had Tyler, and Ascani's son stepped up as his dad. Tyler, who could meddle with memories and had a bit of telekinetic power, joined his father's rebel squad, but during a clash with Strife's forces, a bomb went off, which hurt Aaliyah badly. She died in Ascani's son's arms, asking him to look after Tyler, not knowing he was already taken. Strife had his guy Frisco mess with Tyler's head to turn him against Ascani's son. When they fought Strife later, Tyler got a hold of a clan member named Dawn Silk to swipe secrets, but Nathan shot Tyler to break the link and save Dawn Silk, which messed up both their heads. Later, Tyler got fixed up and was sent to Niagara Falls by the Canaanite strategy team. There, he used a time travel spot called a Tynex to zip back to our time with the goal of boosting the Apocalypse arrival. With future tech, Tyler morphed into arms dealer Mr. Tolliver and tried to get back at Nathan and Strife, who had also time traveled, but that's another story altogether. Hope Summers, adoptive granddaughter. Hope was born to Captain Louise Spaulding in Cooperstown, Alaska. She was the first mutant baby after M-Day, which caused such a telepathic stir that Cerebro blew up, spotting her. Right after, the Purifiers, tipped off by future tech Sentinel Nimrod, attacked her hometown. They took out everyone, including her mom, but Cable saved her. Cable tagged her as the future's hope for mutants and humans. The Purifiers and Bishop thought she'd cause a disaster, pinning humans against mutants big time. The chase for Hope wasn't just a Cable and Purifier show. Mr. Sinister's Marauders and the X-Men were also in the mix. The Marauders grabbed Hope first, not knowing Mystique had flipped their boss. Mystique, with Gambit, planned to use Hope to fix her daughter Rogue from a nasty virus. It worked. After a wild clash with Marauders, X-Men, and a beast called Predator X, the X-Men got Hope. Cyclops figured Hope was the safest with Cable, sending them to the future. Bishop, furious, went after them to prevent his grim future. So that was all in this video. And if you've reached this point, I'm sure you'd be interested in some of the other stuff that we explore. So you may want to hang around with us. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you like our content, don't forget to leave a like. Have a good one. Be safe. Thanks, everyone.